All right, everybody, happy Monday. Welcome into another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm, Integrity Roofing and Siding, and the Sabinal Group. And we are inside, once again, the Lexus RZ 450E, courtesy of North Park Lexus of San Antonio and North Park Lexus at Dominion. Kyle Grothues is here with me. I was going to try to activate the dynamic sky.
That's super cool, man.
But like, real quick, you'll see, well, of course there's a cloud right now, but there was like direct sunlight on us a minute ago, and that's not a lot of fun.
I need to check out one of these Lexuses. My car's been in one of my other vehicles been in the shop for like a year.
I got a guy. Well, you got a guy too.
I know. As soon as I get it back, I might sell it. I'm gonna have to go look for it. I like the size of this thing. This is nice.
It's pretty cool. So, and a shout out to Jose Luis Contreras because he's a fellow Central Catholic.
Oh, awesome.
The Central Catholic family I know is big, and let me put this back on before I don't want the sun to hit you in the face. But you're a Central Catholic alum.
Yes, class of 2002.
And so I know it's a great brotherhood, and you guys help each other out a lot. And a lot of Central Catholic alum have done very well here in the city. But as I was reading up on you, the Grothues have been in San Antonio for a very, very long time.
Yeah, we've had Guadalupe Lumber. One of our businesses has been here for 91 years this year. Yeah, 91. Make sure I get my math right. Since 1933,
right?
Yeah.
It says it on the sign right outside, I think. But is it your great grandparents, or who was it that immigrated? Was it in 1915?
Yes.
They came over to the States looking for an opportunity.
They came over and they started a general store. They came from Belgium.
But did they come straight to San Antonio?
Yes. Yeah. There's a bunch of them came. There's a bunch here. We have more family up in Dallas. They're kind of spread out, but a lot of the Belgians. There's a large Belgian community here. St. Thomas, what's the owner here? They all went to the same church right here.
Oh shoot! Okay, I have to double check.
They came here and started a general store over on Guadalupe Street, and then at one point they had a guy that owed them money.
Uh-huh.
And my grandfather, the guy ran a lumber yard, so the guy traded him. It was like, well, I can't give you money, but I can give you lumber.
Okay.
So he traded him a pallet of 2x4s to cover this debt. And my grandfather sat there and just sold them one by one, just sat on top of it and sold them one by one all day. And it went really well. So after that, they're like, well, they went back to the guy and they're like, well, can we buy some now? Like, we want to keep doing this. And at that point, a couple of years later, they converted the general store, became a lumber yard. And in 1955, they moved to this over here on Zarzamora.
Okay.
Slowly took this area over. There used to be a hotel. We ran a hotel here for a while. It's called the Terminal Motel. Yeah, my great grandma was actually the savvy business person. It wasn't my great grandfather.
Oh,
okay. My mother, and she ran a hotel for all the guys at the produce terminal. And they'd come. They didn't have sleeper trucks back then. They had to stay somewhere.
Right.
So they did that, and then just did a bunch of different stuff, and slowly took this block over. And now my other businesses here in the corner back here. This used to be Reed Film. So all the film rolls for all the movies used to come here and be distributed. So when we turned all the water and the power back on this building, we'd been using the warehouse. It'd been off since 1976.
You're kidding.
No, and we actually found out about a year after we redid the building, reconnected everything. Found out our sewer wasn't connected on the city side. A year later, they had to come dig up the road, and they're like, "Oh man, no one been here for 30 years. When we redid the road, we just didn't connect it."
That's insane. So, I mean, that is crazy because, and I admit, I'm learning more as I do these episodes and talk to people like you. I learned, like I knew Produce Row, or all the terminals are over here,
Forever, yeah, they've been there forever.
And, yeah, they've been here forever. But you don't, I mean, you're just a couple of blocks away. I mean, and you guys, the lumber company has been here for a long time, and you have an active role in that company.
Yeah, I'm the president of the lumberyard, and I try to do as much as I can, but we have our vice president and general manager have both been there for 30, 40 years, so they do a lot of the day-to-day stuff, and I mainly just do financial, kind of keep an eye on that. And,
but did you spend your childhood running around lumber yards and playing with lumber? And
I worked in the plumbing department all through. Don't ask me any plumbing questions, but I can fix a sink. I'm pretty handy, but by no means a master plumber, but I did that during the summer, and then my brother would work in the shipping receiving, and he'd count stuff and do that sort of thing. So
you could have, I'm guessing you could have stayed with that and continued to rise up and run the company and keep it thriving and everything, but for whatever reason a few years ago you decided to pivot, if you will, which brings us to Sons of Liberty GunWorks, which is, 7-8 years old now?
10 this year.
Is it 10 years? Okay, congratulations.
Yeah, it's 10.
Tell me about that process where you're doing your thing with Guadalupe Lumber and then this opportunity, or you conceived this, or how did it happen?
So me and my partner, Mike Mahalski, who's class of 97,
Another
Central,
button.
another Central guy. We didn't know each other. I knew of him because we were both on the guard, and he was the guard commander and I was the Lloyd commander, so I knew of him. And mutual friend introduced us. We both want to do gun stuff. Weren't really sure. He had been building AR-15s in his out of his trunk basically, and so he'll tell you the story. The ATF basically came to me like, "Hey, you gotta stop. You gotta go get a license." So we used to have a third. We have 2 lumberyards now. We used to have 3.
Yeah.
And the one on the south side was bigger than this facility. It used to be Goodwill, and that one we've since shut down and sold it. But I had room there. We just had empty space.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Hey, you got the space and you've got the business knowledge. I have an MBA from A&M, so I was like, hey, you've got the business knowledge. Why don't we? He's got the gun knowledge.
Right.
Let's try to put this together." And we did, and it was just us and one other guy who still works for us.
And a few $1,000s, right?
Yeah, it was like $30,000, which is nothing. I mean, you think it's a lot, but that's nothing for business.
Seems like a lot, yeah.
Yeah, there was regular conversations back then about stop using your, and this was Mike. I at least had another job. Mike, this was all he did, and it was like stop using the company card at Redbox, stuff like that. It was a slow start. We thought we were going to lose it there a couple times over the first few years. It got a little hairy, but we made a lot of really good decisions. Brought on a third partner in 2017 or 2018, which helped, and then hired a lot of really good guys that have propelled us to a lot of success. We've been grown by leaps and bounds the last few years, which is awesome.
I see that. And for people who don't know, essentially, and forgive me because I'm not necessarily in that world or very knowledgeable about guns and everything, but you essentially make guns, so we do or custom make.
Yeah, so we do we have a lot of set models. We're a gun brand, but we do all the design work, and we have patented products, and we develop our own stuff, and even things that are more mainstream, we'll tweak it a little bit and make our own. We'll design it. So we own the print, we own the design of the gun, and then we'll outsource a lot of the, kind of like a car, like Toyota does.
Yeah, sure.
The Toyota does a final assembly, but the tire plant's across the street.
Right.
We get the parts made to our specs. We bring them here, check them, quality control them, and then we'll do all the final assembly and test fire, packaging, all that stuff here, and then they get shipped to here wherever they need to go. And we do guns. We also do parts.
I see.
Probably about half-half.
Yeah. Some people don't always need the whole gun. They just need a specific part or something like that. Was there a client or a transaction or something years ago when you said you were second-guessing yourself at the very beginning and there were some lean years or whatever, and then all of a sudden something happened and it changed everything?
Picking up because the gun industry works, you can either be, it's like a lot of industries. You can be direct with somebody, you know what I mean? You can buy, direct from whoever, buying your, I can't think of a good example off the top of my head, but you can buy direct or you can buy through distributor.
Sure.
Getting into, not everybody's in distribution, so picking up our first distributor, which is the biggest one in the United States, called RSR Group.
Okay.
Picking them up as a distributor, I think, it's been 3 or 4 years now, was a major change. Because you're talking, the gun shop down the street might order 10 guns. They're ordering hundreds. They order 100 of one thing at a time. Every week, like clockwork, we get a 6-digit PO, 6-figure PO from them. So that helped a lot. And then we picked up a second distributor called Crow, and then now we have a third, which is the second biggest. We have the 2 biggest in the country, which is the other one's called Sports South. And so we've been trying to get our guns into Academy and some of these bigger box stores because they all buy from Sports South. So they just picked us up this year at the beginning of the year, so we're trying to get that going. That's a whole other world. Trying to sell to Bass Pro and all these guys because they're little. Your more knowledgeable customers go to the smaller gun shops, so you're trying to get more mainstream, if it were.
I see.
So, yeah.
And then you do work with, and I know you can't get into all the details, but military, I would guess there are some celebrity clients or people who have heard about you and they want to work with you.
Yeah, we've got we've always been real good friends with Aaron Lewis. He's a country singer.
Yes.
We've sold guns to all sorts of people. We had Ozzy Osbourne's son, Jake Osbourne.
Okay.
Jack Osbourne came down here and had lunch, bought a gun. Super nice guy. He's actually a cop. You wouldn't even think of it, but in his part-time, really good dude. We've had a lot of really awesome people come by. Abram Answer is a professional golfer.
Oh, the golfer, PGA golfer, yeah.
Yeah, he came here, bought a few guns, and brought us tequila. He has a tequila brand, Fletch Azul. It's very good tequila.
Gosh.
So yeah, we've met a lot of really neat people. We work with a lot of police departments, SAPD, all over the country. I mean, last year our big contract was the Utah State Police. We armed the whole Utah State Police, so that was cool.
And is that because, and again, forgive my ignorance, is that because in Utah there's not like a Sons of Liberty type business over there, or that you guys are just doing so well that they'll come to Texas?
They'll come. Yeah, we've got a we've built. We used to have to go to a lot of trade shows and convince people, and we've gotten to the point where our reputation precedes us, and
right.
we back it up. So
it's
we've also always supported law enforcement, and we do, like, one thing we started for SAPD was where if they having to use their gun in the line of duty, we'll replace it because it gets taken for evidence, it gets taken away.
Yeah,
from
right.
Them. So we'll immediately supply a replacement, which we do, 30, 40 times a year now, and it happens quite a bit.
Now, is that through SAPD, or would SAPD not give them another firearm?
A lot of these guys carry their personal guns, actually. So some departments issue SAPD. The city owns a certain number of guns. Most of those guys carry personally owned firearms.
Okay. Again, I'm learning. I'm telling you, I'm learning.
It depends on the department, their budget,
All right.
what they got. Yeah, they get issued everything, but a rifle they have to go through. They choose to do it. They have to go through a class, and then they can go purchase a gun. And so we provide them excellent price, the best pricing we give anybody is SAPD.
I get it. So in a typical work day for you, what percentage of your day is devoted to all things Guadalupe Lumber and versus Sons of Liberty?
Probably 70-30, 80-20. I'll usually go over there in the morning and kind of review what they got going on, and they text me all day long. Hey,
right.
Can we do this? Can we do that? Yeah, go for it.
It's literally right here. So
yeah.
it's like
I have two offices. My actual lumberyard, my Sons of Liberty office is actually in the lumberyard as well. We ran out of space in this building and had to move our conference room and offices over here in a space we weren't using. So a lot of walking back and forth, and it can get a little hairy sometimes.
Get your steps in.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
I try to get my 10,000 a day. I don't always do it, but I can go home and walk.
Well, in this heat, I mean, good Lord, like but no. Fortunately, we're inside the car here. So this is Kyle Grothues, by the way. A man who wears multiple hats, but the co-owner, among other things, of Sons of Liberty GunWorks. SonsOfLibertyGW.com is the website. SonsOfLibertyGW.com. So if an average person were to go on that website, can they purchase things from you on there, or what will they see on the website?
Mostly parts, and then T-shirts. We do a lot of swag and stuff. Yeah, we try to get guns up there here and there, but most of the guns through our dealers here in town is our biggest dealer is Mission Ridge here in town.
Uh-huh.
We've got guns at Lone Star, Aldabridge. We got several up at YO. We got a bunch of different places here in town that carry our guns. Armed in America. I'm trying to name them all. I don't want to forget
you got a lot. Well, it's the growth. It's the growth. But the thing is, and if that isn't enough, if you're thinking to yourself, that's plenty for Kyle. You guys also, you know all about this. You do your own podcast.
Yes, yeah, we do our own
and
podcast
social
here.
media.
Yeah, we do our own. We try to do it. We've been trying to get it. We started off doing one once a week, and we're trying to. We'll take months. We'll get busy. We'll take gaps for a month. We're trying to get better about. It's a lot of just every week. I think we're going to shoot 2 or 3 this Friday, so I'm trying to catch up.
No, I
get ahead of it.
I get it. It takes time. It's a commitment and everything. But is it safe to say you have had business, or you've heard from people all over the world? Oh, yeah, definitely. We export, so we sell guns into Slovakia, Poland, Netherlands, that direction. So that's something we got into. We're very lucky to have a very good international. It's called ITAR. Yeah.
The regulations.
Yeah.
We have a retired federal agent that used to enforce it. He was on the other side of the fence. Now he works for us, getting guns, navigating that quagmire of laws to get stuff over there. So that's been a lot of fun. You're having to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to have a telephone call. Some Taiwan.
With the time difference.
Yeah, Taiwanese military contractors been real interesting. And then we also got into we have a line of hunting clothing now that's just launching called. I don't do much on that day to day. We have guys that run that, but called the Wilderness Company. It's like real high-end hunting. I should have worn one of their shirts. I didn't think about it. Real high-end hunting clothing that we've been working on, because the hunting market is just so much bigger than tactical. And a lot of people like AR-15s, but for every one guy that likes AR-15s, there's another 10 that go hunt with a bolt gun. So there's a lot more.
You got to appeal to those people as well.
It's just a lot bigger market, so that's something we try to get into. I'll tell you what, clothing. It's a tough business. It's a lot harder than.
And I wouldn't pretend to know anything about that. But who's the clothing, or when it comes to that, like the way you expanded everything, who gets credit for coming up with that, or like doing the swag and that kind of stuff?
So we do a lot of the swag. We have all of our guys that help on the swag side.
Yeah.
We have a very good graphic designer named Chris on staff. The clothing is one of Mike's friends, Glenn Hansen, who's a retired Navy SEAL.
Okay.
Is the CEO of the Wilderness Co. And then we hired another gentleman, Zach, off a company called Audi Gear. Very successful clothing company, and we brought him on, and between the two of them, they do a lot of design work. But now they're getting into like, they actually got to sell stuff and come in. They're in a warehouse without air conditioning. They got to come in and pack stuff, and they're like, oh, we need AC, and it's like, Sons of Liberty didn't have AC the first 4 years. You got to go sell some clothes. We'll get you some AC.
There you go. You got to work for your AC.
You got to earn it.
Oh my gosh! How often do you look at your partners and just like kind of take it all in and be like, could you imagine in your 10 years in that you'd be where you are right now?
No, I always thought we'd be successful, but it was definitely a slow burn the first few years. I think we did it right though. A lot of companies come in and they have a huge budget and they throw all this marketing money at everybody, and try to start from the top, and instead of working building a foundation.
Slow build, yeah.
And that's what I think we did it the right way, where it's a lot harder to knock a pyramid over with a solid base than what some other people do, because you'll see them all the time. They come into the industry and then they're gone because they don't have a strong foundation and building a good product and having a cult
Right.
following like we do. So we've become friends with all. My partner's been really good friends with Tulsi Gabbard. Been hanging out with her.
Mm-hmm.
He actually posted the other day. I wouldn't even recognize the guy's name, but Scott Staff, the lead singer of Creed, started following us on Instagram the other day. So we thought that was real funny. But yeah, we've gotten to meet a lot of people, and it's just slowly, even on the law enforcement side, we started by appealing to the guys that actually use the guns, not going and whining and dining the chief.
There you go.
So
see, no, it's working. It's working. Speaking of following, so our buddy Richard Delgado is on here, and he sends his regards and everything, because we know Richard from the Fiesta world and the Ray Feo Consejo world. And I know you're very generous as well in terms of like donating things or supporting. I mean, the very reason you're sitting here right now is because you bid on the opportunity to do an episode with me at an event. So I appreciate that. I know Central Catholic appreciates that. But what about those days when you were at Central? What kind of button were you back then?
I was in RTC. Like I said, I was in the Guard. I was a lot nerdier in my youth, I think. I was a lot skinnier, too.
Hey, me too.
No, the Guard was a family. We always had a good time, but we kind of stuck to ourselves. I wish I would have. There's a lot of guys now that I've reconnected with over the years. I'm very good friends with that I didn't really talk to as much in high school. They were in different sports or different groups or what have you. So I love Central. Central's amazing. We had a great time. We try to do everything we can to support it, and it's crazy now that like when we were there, the president of the school was a great guy, Father Trillian, but he was a 75-year-old priest. Now it's my buddy, Jason
Longoria,
who's in Consejos with us and everything,
yes.
and is a personal friend, and he's only a few years older than I am. So it's very different dynamic, and I think that's served them very well. And the school's doing amazing, and everything we can do to support them.
Longorias are a great family as well, and I mean you've got kids of your own too.
Yeah.
So you got to juggle all this and
kids and get married this year. So I get married in October. So it's just
congratulations, man!
Yeah, a million things going on. Lynn, speaking of Fiesta, Lynn's actually helping one of the La Feria Queen this year, London.
Oh, yeah?
Powell, yeah.
That's already started, by the way. Ray Feo 76, as you know, that's already well underway, and the planning for Fiesta 2025 is well underway, and I'm sure you and I will both have some kind of involvement with all that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure we'll be there. We were both real involved, helped John a lot.
John McFadden.
We both are good friends with John, and I love Fabian. I think he's going to do a great job.
Yeah, no, for sure, absolutely. You said your two kids are boys, right?
Yeah.
Do they? How much do they spend time around here, and are perhaps following the same trajectory you are?
They're getting to the point where my oldest has just turned 9 last week, so I need to get him more into it. He mainly comes here and plays on his iPad, but it's something I need to start getting. They're 9 and 5. 5-year-old's not quite there yet, but he's getting to the point where I need to get him, working a little bit. And I think the hardest part for him, even me when I was working, when I was real young in high school working summers, like, man, I got to stay here for the whole day and I can't go anywhere. It's like it's a good learning thing. You're like, you have to actually having a job and having responsibilities and having to be there.
Very cool. A couple more minutes here with Kyle Grothues, Sons of Liberty GunWorks, sonsoflibertygw.com if you like more information. So your great-grandfather, I had it here, is it Marianus?
Yeah.
Marianus Grothues. So I'm just trying to envision 1915. They're coming to the United States, get to San Antonio, take it all in. I wonder what your great grandparents would think about all of this now.
I'm sure hopefully they'd be happy and impressed, and that we did well. And I know my great grandmother was a big advocate of branching out and doing other stuff.
Yeah.
She actually would go back to the Belgium quite often. What she did is she worked for the Red Star Line. So the Titanic was a White Star.
Okay,
Titanic was a White Star line. It's just like the sister line, Red Star line.
No way. Okay.
And she would sell cruises to the other Belgian and families from the Netherlands, the Dutch families and stuff, to go back home. And for every certain number she sold, she got to go back home. So that was one of her other little side gigs she had going on. So she was definitely about
very savvy
yes,
businesswoman, like you said.
She was smart. Yeah, my dad learned a lot from her. Would go during lunch breaks and stuff when he was at St. Luke's, go hang out with her, and she was very. I wish I would have got to meet her way before my time.
Yeah.
Very savvy. So was my grandfather. He's been passed away for quite a few years now, but he got to see a lot of the growth and stuff. So I know he was very pleased with it. So.
Well, one of my favorite things has been just to learn about these multi-generational businesses that have been around forever. And like I said, people come get their produce over here or whatever, or been in this part of town, have no idea that this was here, or there's just the story behind it. And then to see what you've done with it, and you can still do the lumber, but also branch out with Sons of Liberty, is just super cool.
Yeah, even over the years, we've had to learn and change. We just became a distributor for a plumbing company called Artec out of Mexico, and we're actually distributing like 18 our first load's coming next week, big loads of plumbing supplies, to big plumbers here in town for new construction. So they approached us to do it, and we were like, yeah, hell yeah, it's another revenue stream, something else we can bring out. So I think that's going to be very successful. So the
growth continues. Well, listen, I know he was on the phone earlier, I'm sure closing deals or whatever the case may be. So I'm gonna let him get back to his workday. But really been looking forward to this conversation, Kyle, a guy that I've gotten to know in the Fiesta universe. But just really appreciate your legacy and like the family legacy, the Grothues, and kind of just the impact they've had here. Every time I see Guadalupe Lumber now, man. Obviously, Sons of Liberty. So, so great to see you again.
Yeah, you too.
Congratulations on all the success.
Yeah, glad we got to get this.
We got it done.
Happen. Yep.
We got it done. Sons of Liberty GW.com, because as if he's not busy enough, he's going to get married later this year as well. So he's got a lot of stuff to do. But Kyle, we appreciate it as always, brother.
Hey,
thank you, sir. All right, there you have it. Another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm, Integrity Roofing and Siding, and the Sabinal Group. We'll be back again very soon with another episode right here. Stay cool and take care. Bye for now.